Hello, everybody. It's Jeff Gibby over at MetaStock. I hope you're doing well. I want to say thank you for coming in today. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. We're broadcasting now. Let's go ahead and start with our legal disclaimer, shall we? Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So with that being said, I hope everybody's doing well this morning. I hope it's a little bit sunny and a little bit warm. It's getting cold here in Utah. Our guest today is Rahul Mohinder. And I know a lot of you are familiar with Rahul Mohinder. And I know you guys just know I'm about to gush on how much I like Rahul, but I'm going to. So, so there you go. Rahul has been a dealer of MetaStock for I think more time than at least just about as long as I've worked for the company, and maybe a few years more. He can clarify that a little bit. He runs a fantastic training organization in India called Viratech. He's developed one of our most successful add-on products. If you're in India and you're looking for some education, I'd recommend you go to Viratech. They do a great job. The things I like specifically about Rahul is, number one, he created the very first system that I invested real money with, and it's called the RMO system. And it's a fantastic system that we include with MetaStock. He also created our most successful add-on that we're now launching the third version of. He's got a very, very good speaking style. I like kind of how thorough and how he kind of makes everything very, very understandable when he talks. So I think I'm done with that part of it. Today, what he's going to talk about specifically is what's new in the ATM version 3.0. So hopefully you've seen kind of some of the information about ATM 2 and ATM 1 and kind of the stuff that's already included. Certainly if you want to get more information about the product as a whole, well, reach out to us. I'll have our phone numbers available and we can send you some of the videos we've done in the past. But what Rahul wants to do today is very, very specifically focus on the RMO 3. So, Rahul, that was your introduction. How did I do?
You're always amazing, Jeff. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm turning you into the presenter right now. I'll let you know when I can see your screen. We have a quiet audience today. Nobody has said anything in the chat room yet. So hopefully that means they can hear us. All right, I can see your screen, Rahul.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Jeff, again. Appreciate that kind introduction. You're always very, very kind to me. And well, just to add to what Jeff said, yes, it's been about 25 years. I was just trying to rotate back and think how long has been the association for Viratech and MetaStock. So it's been an amazing few years with them, and of course many more to go. MetaStock is such a great product. The way it has taken wonderful shape. I've seen it from the DOS days with the big floppy drive, gone through Y2K when we had, I think it was 6 or 6.52, and then finally today we're knocking at 16, or we are at 16, maybe soon 17. But it's amazing the way the product keeps taking great shape, taking user feedback, and the RMO 2 has been extremely well received by users, and that's what really got me to showcase the RMO ATM add-on a few years back, which is really a suite of studies that I use to put my own money in. Just to let you know, yes, I'm a commentator on Bloomberg, CNBC, etc. But above all, I'm a trader, like most of you folks there. My business is not, selling my analysis or, to try and give people tips on where to buy or where to sell. It's all about helping you become more independent. It's all about me being my own trader And really, that's what I do for a living. So I enjoy trading, I enjoy charting. And when I talk about technical analysis, the reason it comes so naturally and practically to me is I've literally been doing this for a good number of years. And at the same time, I'm actually implementing whatever I build. I'm actually testing with real money, whatever I am building at the same time. And I'm one of those people where I don't like to do an update unless I think that we're adding a significant value to what you already have. So one of the best things about doing an upgrade for the ATM is the fact that we are genuinely adding something solid, something meaningful, something that is going to add to your performance and convenience. And that's why it excites me a lot, because there's a lot of legs, a lot of time, a lot of effort that goes into building it, testing it, getting it better and better. And I really think from that trader perspective, it's not about just giving you a new version. At times we give you a version every year. Sometimes it takes more than a year and a half or 2 years. And that's because we're not just there to build stuff and give you a quantity of indicators and just throw out a tool or an update for the heck of it. So it's very, very passionate and dear to me that we give you something that delivers and is practically usable by all of us. So the RMO ATM 3 has taken a lot of time to build, and hopefully some of these updates may look small, but there's a lot of small under the hood changes that I've gone through to make the platform more robust and flexible, and at the same time add studies that you and I can use as traders more profitably. Now, as Jeff mentioned, today is all about discussing what's new or what's in this update of the RMO ATM 3. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing over today. If you want to look at the complete suite of indicators that exist within the ATM, there are several videos we've already done in the past, which you could refer to. So I'm not going to be covering every single indicator. I'm really covering what's new or what are the enhancements, particularly with this ATM 3.0. But I'd like to take a moment or two to kind of share with you some ideas on how I integrate stuff as well. So we got a packed few minutes in front of us. So let's go and dive straight into the first update that I have, which is an update which is going to help us detect market reversals. So a lot of us may have read about outside days and inside days. So if you look at your chart on the right hand side, we're looking at inside days being a bar which is smaller than the previous bar, a bar that's kind of tucked in between the high and low. It's really a low volatility bar, and usually inside days are characterized with under average volume and a smaller price action, right? So usually that's what happens. So inside days kind of play a slightly lower relevance when it comes to trading signals, whereas outside days, which is this big tall bar, is a bar that is typically got a higher high, a lower low. An outside day is a bar that is expressing extreme volatility, extreme price action, a bar that's longer on both sides with that higher high and lower low. So yes, I'm comparing just to that previous bar and getting it to be an outside day. But what we've seen is these outside days would often lead to trend reversal. And the reason that happens is, come to think of it, the market's been extremely volatile. It's been packed with price action, and usually an outside day is packed with above average volume. And such kind of price and volume action often leads to a major market reversal. Now, how can we better this outside day and try and detect reversals? So in order for me to look for a reversal bar, I want to make sure that I get a downward reversal after an uptrend. So you can see there are a couple of bars going up, and then I get an outside day that's closing negative. That's going to be a downward reversal signal. And if I could be very specific, I'm looking for a bar that closes below the low of the previous bar. So it's not just an outside day, it's a bar that's closing below the low of the previous bar. So let's recap the rules. We got a bar that's got a higher high, lower low, close below the low of the previous day. And most importantly, a downward reversal or a downward outside day bar is really being looked for when the market's rallying up. In other words, that's going to help me detect that the market potentially could have a reversal. Whether that reversal is going to be a short term or a longer term or a major top, that's a secondary question. But I think what we need to be very alert with is, if there's a market reversal that's coming, you definitely want to exit longs. You want to look at considering going shorts, getting some puts. There's a lot of things we can do once we have them. Now, outside day reversals, as I said, are really designed around just price action, but usually you would also find the volume action is also coupled with it. You'd have above average volumes with that. I call this a leading indicator of trend change. It's probably one of those first indications that you would get. So while the market's going up, you see a reversal bar. That's one of the first indications that the market's going to go down. Or likewise, you could have a situation where you have an upward reversal, where you have a market that's cracking down and you suddenly get an up reversal bar. So it really depends on the market situation you're in. So what are the two things we want to make sure when we look for these outside day reversals? We're looking for a preceding trend. So in other words, if I'm looking at a down reversal, obviously the preceding trend has got to be up. Similarly, if I'm looking for an up reversal, I've got to be having a downtrend behind me. So if there's a downtrend behind me, I get a upward reversal coming in. That's going to give me a signal of trend change. So check the preceding trend. And of course, if these reversal bars or these outside day reversals are coupled with above average volume, that certainly adds weight. Is it mandatory? No. But if you do have it, like any other signal, if it's coupled with above average volume, it is definitely more valid as a signal. Now, all of this can be scanned for automatically. So with the ATM 3.0, you're going to have a live power screener that's going to get you outside day reversals. Now, this means whether you use the end of day data or whether you use real-time data, it will scan for you automatically and point these opportunities to you where you have outside day reversals. So let's look at an outside day reversal. I just quickly snapped out a chart of Apple, and this is a 60-minute chart that happened over the last week or two. So we had a rally up intraday on Apple. So you get a nice little run up of bars there. And then we have this outside day. Now an outside day typically is characterized by a longer bar that at least covers the entire range of the previous bar. So usually it's a higher high, lower low. At times it could even be equal. That's also acceptable. And when we're looking at an outside day bar like this, we've got a closing lower than the low of the previous bar. That indicates a trend change. So this upward trend is being threatened with this reversal bar, with this outside day bar. And what could I do as a trade? I could sell short below the low of that bar and keep stops as tight as the high. Now, what's also very important is this last point there, preceded by an uptrend. So I have an uptrend and then I get a down reversal. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you may get a down reversal or an outside day like this. Now, what's the problem with this bar right here in the circle? Now, this bar has not closed lower than the low of the previous bar. Besides, it's not coming after an uptrend. It's already in a downtrend, right? Same here. You don't have a major downtrend when you get this kind of an outside day. So it's an outside day where the closing is not higher than the high if you're looking for an up reversal. Besides, you must have a decent downtrend. When I say decent, you need to see at least 5 to 8 bars rolling down, and you should see good price action moving down. So be careful as to the ones you would choose. But again, the scanner is going to do this job of checking, has it closed above the high or is it closed below the low. So the good thing is the power screener is going to do this job of checking, has it gone below the previous bars, low and high, closed above it. All we need to check is really the preceding trend. So I can see a downward trend, and this is the Indian market index, which is the Nifty, which had a nice rally up over the last week or two. You can see we had a downtrend and we had an up reversal bar, which led to a nice upward price action. So these can be used both on intraday intervals, daily charts, weekly charts, whatever interval you use. And all of this is backed with the scan. So that's really what you're looking for: down reversals in an uptrend and up reversals when you have a downward price action market. So how do you get this? So folks, all you're going to do is right click on the power screener and add a column where you select the outside day reversal. So that's where you get the indicator quick list. So just right click on that and select the outside day reversal. In this case, I've marked it on weekly data. You can of course do it on 60-minute, 5-minute, whatever you use, or daily, and have even a voice alert or an email alert to kind of give you an alert that here's a stock that's potentially setting up for a reversal. So here's a really nice signal for you to get alert with. I definitely like to use this as an indicator to take profit and also get alert as to maybe I'm founding a new trend, and I try and pull my socks up and look for that breakout on certain indicators that I like to follow. So the outside day reversal can be used individually, can be used as an exit mechanism, or can be used as a first-hand light to tell you that get alert, maybe we're setting up for trend change. So use this setup practically. It's a little different to an engulfing. A lot of folks who use candlesticks, here we're looking at the preceding trend as well. We're also looking for a closing above the high of the previous bar, not just an engulfed body. Right? So follow along the rules. It's going to do that whole scan for you automatically. It's instant, which is going to get you those alerts. Now, that's the first update. The outside day reversals comes to you in the Power Screener with ATM 3.0. The second update I did was something very simple, yet something which was very necessary. So we always like looking at the user feedback we get. And one of the things that we got feedback is to get price alerts. Now, a lot of people use this feature within their broking application or Zenith or whatever app you prefer putting in a price alert. But I like to use my Power Screener as my only go-to screen. That's the one place I go to assess the trend and the one place I want to be able to do everything, right? So I want to know how much profit or loss I'm making, set up price alerts, volume alerts, see what the trend condition is. So that Power Screener should really do all my analysis, give me all my alerts. So how do you set a price alert? You can right click on any chart that you want a price alert on, and it would automatically grab the symbol and the price. And now you could set up an alert that you want an alert at a particular price, at an above a particular price that is, or at or below a particular price. So let's say it's the stock's $100. You want an alert when it goes to 102 or higher. You want to put an alert at or above 102. Or let's say you are looking for a downward breakout below 100, you could say at or below 100. Now, another very interesting thing is when you want to look for price and range. So let's say you want to accumulate a stock between 99 and 99.50. You could have an alert for whenever a stock comes within a price range, or if it breaks out of a price range. So maybe you've identified there's a channel-like formation or there's a major support resistance band, and you want an alert whenever it breaks out of that range. So you can click on out of that range and enter the values you want it to alert you on. And you can also type in an alert message. So for example, you may say, hey, buy above 100 only if the ATM RMO 2 gives me a buy. So, you could type in a custom message or call my broker or whatever, make your little notes like you need to. And all of this can be fired via a pop-up alert, which appears a bit like this. So on the bottom right-hand side, you'll have this little slider that'll pop up for a quick 2 or 3 seconds and show you that's the name of the stock, and the last price is at or above the alert value that you just set. Now, there could be a situation you have, say, 5 alerts firing at the same time or 10 alerts at the same time. You have a little scroller here to go previous and next. And what we've also thought is the other degree where you want to go into an alerts manager. Now, the alerts manager would be right at the bottom right on your screen. It's kind of hidden with this pop-up that I have here, but there's a icon right behind this, which is an alerts manager where you can go and see all the alerts that are presently set or triggered, whether you want to delete them or whether you want to edit them out. So go ahead and use that alerts manager, which is also accessible. So we've thought with a lot of detail. I like to really think of this from a trading perspective. I want an alert at a price, I want it above a price, below a price, within a range. I want a pop-up alert, an email alert, maybe a voiceover alert where it actually tells you price alert on IBM, or sends you an email. So we've thought of that whole idea of personalizing it and giving you the alerts exactly how you may need it. So that's the second feature, price alerts, new in the ATM 3.0. The other quick feedback that I took was a lot of traders want to find stocks which are really off their 52-week high or low. So if you have a stock that, let's say, is declined a very strong degree from its 52-week high, those stocks are really dipping down. You want to look for stuff that's either gone up a lot or gone down a lot in comparison to its yearly high or low. So that's what we're doing with this scanner. Let's see what you can do. You add a column here called 52-week low percent and 52-week high percent. So all you need to do to add a scan is to right click and add a column. That's it, and select from that list. So you can see over here, if you double tap on this list, it would sort it for you. So I've just double tapped on 52-week high percent change, and I can see within this list that I have here, I've got GE, which has lost 55% or greater from the 52-week high, which means within the list of stocks that I have on my watch list, this is one of the stocks that has really eroded value. Now, you may want to look for stuff that's really dropped a lot. Maybe you're bottom fishing. Maybe you think the market's come to a point which is at great support. Or maybe you want to look for stuff that's really gone up a lot, so you could scan the other way around. So auto sort is, again, a lovely feature where you just double tap and it auto sorts. And the beauty is, even if you're using this in real time, it auto sorts every 30 seconds, right? You could even delay that auto sort or speed up that auto sort. The idea is that it keeps sorting for you and brings the signals right on top. So let's say if I wanted to auto sort on the RMO super filter, I want all the ones which are a nice buy signal right now, right up top. I just double tap on ATM RMO and I would get all the signals which appear fresh right up top. So that's the third update we did for you, is to get you the 52-week high and low percentile change. Now comes the fourth update that we've done for you on the ATM 3.0, and this is really interesting. It's the new ATM TrendDecider 15-day. Now, for those of you folks who don't have the ATM or have not used or are not familiar with the ATM suite, the TrendDecider is one of my favorite templates, one of those templates which I say every user should really look at some point, because this can help you tremendously. The TrendDecider comes from a daily, weekly, and a monthly chart presently. But now we've also added a feature where it calculates every 15 days. So in other words, I could use a TrendDecider daily, weekly, and monthly like I always was. And now I also have this new hybrid, which is a TrendDecider 15-day. And the reason I call this a hybrid, there are a lot of people who find the monthly TrendDecider very far out because it updates just once in the month, right? But the 15-day would be more reasonable in terms of getting you to speed, but yet not getting you so quick that you get whipsawed out. So it's really interesting. It's a nice blend, the 15-day. Now, how do we use the TrendDecider level? The TrendDecider can be used on any interval. So if you are someone who trades, let's say, just for one trading day, in other words, you're a day trader, and let's say you use a 5-minute chart, you can use the TrendDecider daily level, which is going to update every day for you. But if you're someone like me who likes to trade not just for a day, maybe I want to look at 3 or 4 business days, I might like to look at a TrendDecider weekly level. In fact, I've always recommended in the past, and I still do, is to combine the TrendDecider daily and weekly on one chart, because that's where you get fascinating results. The TrendDecider 15-day and monthly are really for those long-term folks, especially using the end-of-day daily charts. That's where it could come in very, very handy. So TrendDecider 15-day and TrendDecider monthly can be applied on a daily chart as well. So very quickly, how does it look like? So that's the TrendDecider 15-day, and that's going to come up as a new indicator for you on top. So on the indicator quick list, once you have the ATM 3.0 installed, you would get that indicator pre-built up top, and you can apply it to see the level. So every 15 days, it's going to update that level for you. The moment price closes above that level, you expect an uptrend. If the price closes below that level, use that low as a trigger point. Okay, so notice over here it closed below that level. Use the low as a trigger point. You had a bit of a drop, but maybe not as much as you would have wanted. But bottom line is every time you go past that level, it's telling you of an uptrend or a downtrend. Like you had over here, you broke that level, you threatened that level, we got into that down dip. Okay, so the TrendDecider 15-day is again a very powerful tool. It's one of those tools which gives you a first-hand feel of where the market's changing trend. Now, the daily and the weekly, I talked to you about this. I told you it's one of my favorite tools. This is the inbuilt template that you get with the ATM. It's a combination of a TrendDecider daily and a TrendDecider weekly. This is a 60-minute chart that I have up for you, and I've applied the daily and the weekly level. Remember one thing, if you use a 15-minute or a 30-minute or a 60-minute, the TrendDecider daily and weekly level is always going to be the same. That's because the ATM TrendDecider daily is calculated off a daily chart and the weekly is calculated off a weekly chart. The monthly is calculated off the monthly chart. It doesn't matter which time interval you are trading or applying it to. So practically, I use a lot of hourly type of data, and that's why I like to apply my TrendDecider daily and weekly on an hourly. So when you look at it over here, it fits in very well in context. Notice whenever the price is trading above the green and the red. The green is the TrendDecider daily, the red is the TrendDecider weekly. If price is trading above both, you have a nice uptrend that kicks in. If price trades below the green and the red, you have a downtrend. Okay. Another thing to observe is whenever the green line breaks that red line on the downside, you have a big drop. So green crossing the red line, you have a rally that's expected. Now, nothing's perfect. You have that little whipsaw there. But again, when the green punctures the red line, you have a nice drop. So it's fascinating how you do it. And all of this is programmed into the PowerScreener. It's even programmed in your expert. Notice that ribbon at the bottom, friends. This is so powerful. Just look at that. I mean, we're looking at a chart of October, November, and we're seeing a solid amount of data there. And you can see in that 60-minute chart, it's quite fascinating how it's performing so beautifully, right? So you can see how well it's been keeping you on the trade. When it's red, you're basically selling the market. When it's green, that's when you start buying. So you don't buy randomly anywhere in the green. I always recommend when the green just starts or when the red just starts, that's when you get in. And you can see how you get a beautiful understanding of the texture of the trend being bearish, and you continue on the short side or the long side of the market. Right, so that's one of my favorite tools to use. So definitely use that ATM TrendDecider template that's built in on MetaStock. We even have a scanner for you. But now here's another one. Here's the next update for you. We've got the TD break study. The TD break stands for the TrendDecider break study. So one of the things users wanted an alert was whenever the market just closes past the TrendDecider daily, weekly, monthly level that they're using. So for example, I use the weekly level a lot, and this is an example with that weekly level. The moment I have an hourly bar that just closes above the TrendDecider weekly, that's like my first step. I was bearish and now I've suddenly gone bullish. So the very fact that I'm trading above the TrendDecider weekly is my first breakout of that level. So I want that alert right there. In other words, whenever I even close below the TrendDecider weekly level, I want my alert. So remember the TD break, the TrendDecider break study, which is the 6th new edition on the ATM 3, is only going to signal to you when it just breaks out, when it just closes above that TrendDecider weekly level or below that TrendDecider weekly level. It's not something that's going to signal all the time. You're only going to get it at the time when it just does it, right? So if you're someone using daily charts, you probably would like to look at a TD 15-day or a TD monthly. I'm just trying to give you a heads up as to where to start from. If you use 30-minute, 60-minute, 75-minute, any kind of interval like that, 2-hour charts, use the daily and the weekly. They fit in really well into those kind of frames. But if you're someone who's using 5 and 10-minute charts, maybe the TrendDecider daily is the place to go there, right? But TrendDecider weekly is again very powerful, like you can see on the 60-minute chart. And TD break is going to alert you. So here's what the TD break would look like on your PowerScreener. And for those of you folks who are trying to come to speed as to what is this PowerScreener, the PowerScreener is an app which works side by side with MetaStock, and it updates in real time with your MetaStock Zenith data or with your local data or with your offline data, whatever you have. Now, the trend decider break is a column that I've added here. It does all the scanning live real time for you. That's if you have real-time data, that is. If you have end of day, it'll do it to the end of day data that you have. And I could have an alert that whenever it closes past the daily level or the weekly level or the monthly level, I want a price alert. I want an alert to come to me, be it in the form of an email alert or a voice alert. So TD break, again, a fantastic way to find those first points of breakout whenever a key level is breaking out above or below. And you may like to set it for all of them. You may like to set it for just one of them. Totally your call, depending on how you use it. Now here's the next update for you. So it's really gotten so much better. It's a lot of these little finer points we've added, a lot of these new studies we've added, which is going to help you for sure. I'm very positive. I've been using the 3.0 myself now, testing it through for a good couple of months in finished state, just to make sure it's nice and solid, stable, and doing those little tweaks. So here's another feedback which we kind of took some great hints from. So the breakout catcher is one of those first few studies I released with the ATM one. So when we launched the ATM for the very first time, I always talked about the breakout catcher being a robust, fast indicator, because this is one of those tools like the other suite of indicators we have here, which is dynamic and adaptive. In other words, it doesn't work off a static value. It keeps updating. So if the market slows down, the indicator slows down, the market speeds up, the indicator speeds up. So there's a fantastic dynamic ability in all of these ATM indicators, especially the new ATM super filter, etc., which I'll talk to you about in a bit, as well as the breakout catcher. Now, we would always tell you to take trades when you have a blue bar with that line there, which indicates a breakout up, and you see the zone detector at a value of 1. So what you see on top is the zone detector. If you see it at a value of 0, it means the market is dormant. If you see it at a value of 1, or with a fill inside it, it indicates that the market is active or hyperactive, which means take trades or take signals when the market is active or hyperactive. Don't take sell signals like this. Notice this red bar comes in here, but you see that the zone detector is dormant. Don't take a sell like this, because it's not really going to be that accurate, because it's coming at a point where the trading volume is low, price volatility is low. So it's not going to be that solid. If you're looking for a trend, you want to see that you are at a value of 1, because that's when you have money backing you, you have volume with you, you have price action with you. So the zone detector is helping you kind of wade through these little cells. So earlier what we were doing is, until today, we were always looking for a breakout catcher buy or sell, which was again an automatic process, but yet you would need to go in and confirm with the zone detector. With the new ATM BC Sync, which comes to you with the RMO ATM 3.0, the BC Sync or the breakout catcher sync indicator will sync this for you. It will give you a signal only when you have a breakout which is coupled with active or hyperactive zone. So what's fantastic is now we have got a much finer shortlist, almost ready-made, if I may put it. So you got a red bar coupled with a breakout catcher that's an active or hyperactive. You are ready to go. All you need to do is fire those trades, place your stops, enter your trigger point where you want to get in, get out, above the high, below the low, etc. So BC Sync is basically going to look for where you have a breakout catcher signal coupled with the zone, and wherever you have a breakout catcher sell or buy where the zone is dormant, it would not feature those signals for you. So how do you add the BC Sync? Again, pretty much on your PowerScreener. All these updates are mostly on the PowerScreener, other than that ATM TrendDecider. That's the one where we have an indicator on the chart of MetaStock, but the BC Sync is going to sync it for you on the PowerScreener. You can add an indicator column. So there's already an indicator column called ATM BreakoutCatcher, but now we've also added the BC Sync. So I would recommend you use the BC Sync. Now, picking the best of the RMO, I talk about this a lot when I present in person. I always uh, try and help users make the best of the inbuilt RMO system inside of MetaStock. So just in case you are new to MetaStock and you are started to use the RMO, which is the inbuilt RMO, and again, this is already inside of MetaStock, whether you have the add-on, whether you don't have the add-on, you still have the inbuilt RMO, right? So let's quickly recap the rules on it. We're looking for an integration of three elements: red bars, red arrows, and a negative RMO. So red colored bars indicates a medium-term downtrend. The arrow indicates a short-term downtrend, and the longer term is represented in the RMO, which stands for the Rahul Mohinder oscillator, which is on top. That gives me my long-term trend direction. So I want to trade in the direction of the stronger force, which is down. So red bar, red arrow, downward RMO, negative RMO, I want to sell short below the low, right? So every time you get this setup, so you have a red bar, red arrow again, that's again a sell. Red bar, red arrow with the RMO negative, you want to sell short, right? This one too is also a sell. I haven't marked this here, but you can see that red bar, red arrow. And so you could go on and on and on, and you get a lot of short signals. But what are the trades that I always recommend? How do you pick the best ones? The best ones are always the first ones. You are looking for where you got that very first turn, the very first time when RMO turned from bullish to bearish, the very first time when blue rotated into red, the very first time this trend is breaking out from a long-term up to a down, right? That's what you're looking for. Similarly, when you're looking at the buy side, you're looking for this point, the first time when the RMO went from bearish to bullish. If you look down at the ribbon on the x-axis, you can see the RMO was bearish, turning into bullish. That's where you want to do your buy trade over there above the high there. That's where you see the arrow comes in much earlier, being a short-term signal. Then comes the medium term with the bar color. And finally, the oscillator goes above zero. That's what marks the RMO bullish at that ribbon. Now, if you go on and on, you'd get signals even over here. So these are add-on trades. Here too, it's a blue bar buy arrow with the RMO bullish. But where do you want to focus on? Where can you find the best trades? The first breakouts. Those are going to be the most potential. Those are going to be the most meaty. And I want you to look for those given the choice, because at any point, let's say you have a list of 50 stocks and you have 4 signals, you really want to wait out which are the first breakouts. Now, to make life easy on this, we have built a scan which doesn't only give you an RMO 3D buy or sell, but which will also give you the first breakout. So let's help you. These are the already inbuilt scans. Even in the RMO ATM 2, you already have this, the integrated buy and sell scan. Now, what's really interesting about the integrated buy and sell scan is, remember, the arrow, the bar color, and the oscillator going above zero could all come at different time points, at different bars, different stages. This will give you the signal exactly when all three are in sync, okay? Likewise for the buy and the sell, right? So this is a huge boon for the explorers. So those of you folks who use the explorer, you would definitely want to use the integrated buy and sell. But again, this would give it to you for a first breakout as well as for an add-on breakout. Now, if you're using the PowerScreener, you already see an RMO 3D sell or a 3D buy. A 3D sell means three-dimensional sell, means includes all the 3 rules. And again, a 3D sell doesn't necessarily mean it's a first breakout. It could be a first, it could be an add-on. Now, here comes the best part. With your new ATM 3.0, you are going to see these 2 arrows in front. In other words, when you get an RMO 3D sell, if you see the 2 arrows here, this means it's a first breakout. This means the RMO was bullish just a few bars behind, and it's rotating from that bullish zone to a bearish zone and potentially your first breakout. So given a choice, choose the one with the arrow. That's the first breakout versus just a simple 3D sell. So this is how I think it's really going to help you. Now, there are many different ways to further enhance performance with the RMO. For example, look for above average volume signals, etc., etc. But again, the ATM 3.0 is going to find those first RMO 3D sells or RMO 3D buys, the first breakouts, what you've been looking for. So really one of those things which took us a lot of time to build, but I think it's fascinating that you'd get it. So if you have already been using the inbuilt RMO system, just imagine having a scanner that integrates it for you and also tells you if it's a first or an add-on. So just looking at it, I can see that, okay, this 3D cell is an add-on cell and this one is a first breakout. So that's where you can really, and those shaded backgrounds tell you the actual condition of the RMO. So in the power screen, when you see a red background, that means the RMO is negative. A green background indicates that the RMO is positive. So really there's a lot of depth of thought that's gone into building this right, and I'm sure this will benefit you. I genuinely think this really adds a much better case to the trade. So just to recap, an RMO 3D buy over here is an add-on buy simply because the RMO has been bullish for many, many bars. I would like to look at the first time when from a series of red bars or a series of RMO bearish, I have rotated into bullish. So that's where you're going to get the two arrows on your watch list. Remember, that's going to come on your power screener. That's going to come on your quote board or watch list, whatever you want to call it. The scanner is going to find that out for you and give you those creamiest trades. Now, to make the RMO even better, just to kind of dive into another aspect of it, is we also released the super filter earlier on, right? So this has already been there, but again, I'd love to cover the super filter just for a quick bit here because this is so relevant. Because if you're trying to make your best trades with the RMO, you definitely want to use the super filter. Now, there are a lot of times when the RMO goes from bullish to bearish, bullish to bearish. In other words, when the market gets sideways or choppy, it goes up and down, and that's what creates a little bit of whipsaw. But with the new super filter that you have an orange and red color. With the orange and red color, it tells you a degree that this is bearish. Orange is again a form of bearish. Red is further bearish. Likewise, you have a light blue and dark blue. But above all, what you understand is when you have orange color, you are not going to be buying. So the bar colors that you now see with the ATM RMO template, and how do you get this? You right click, apply template, select ATM RMO. The ATM RMO, what I call the super filter, shades these bar colors. Now, these are a refinement of your existing RMO. And the existing RMO works off static values, but the super filter works off dynamics. So in other words, it optimizes for the stock you are looking at. It kind of tunes that RMO or filters that RMO based on the behavior of that particular stock. I keep citing this example that, there's not one particular moving average or one particular stochastic value that can be applied across the board. I mean, different strokes for different folks. You want to be looking at a particular value for a particular stock based on its design and texture and movement. So please bear in mind that this is a super optimization. That's why I call it the super filter. Why you see that when I get orange bars, even though the RMO is bullish, I'm not going to buy, right? So it really helps smoothen things out and takes out a lot of chop. So when you see dark blue and you see the RMO is bullish, you definitely want to go on and fire on that trade. So you can see how beautiful this makes it. Look at this part over here. A lot of times you've gone from bearish to bullish. If we look down at the x-axis, it's probably easier to view. You can see there's red, green. There's a lot of oscillation from bearish to bullish, which sounds confusing and looks like, you could be in a potential whipsaw there. But being just dark blue all the way just helps you stay in that trade locked in on the buy side. Okay. Similarly, you look at this dark red that comes in. Dark red indicates extreme weakness. Notice this signal has come way before the RMO even turned negative, which is like your first warning bell that things are changing. So the dark red is good enough for me to understand that the things are going to be moving to the short side. At least exit and plan your short trades. Okay, so you can see a super filter doesn't necessarily mean that it would slow down the RMO or filter out the RMO by just slowing down. It can also speed up. So there are a lot of dynamics there. So the ATM RMO template, which is there, which is really a super filter, and again, that is beautiful. That gives you these bar colors that refines the very existing RMO itself. And this is backed further with some great commentary as well in your expert advisor. So don't think the super filter is going to slow down the indicator. Notice here it's got dark blue, which means it's come earlier than the RMO. Okay, so in other words, the RMO was bearish. This came first. And notice over here, the bars have turned light blue, but the RMO has already gone negative. So here it's slowed down. So this dynamic of being able to slow down or being able to speed up based on the texture or price action of the stock is the adaptiveness of the super filter, which is fascinating. So most of the ATM studies out there don't work off static values, they work off adaptive values, which is why you see this chunk of extremely good performance. So when you look at everything that we've put together for you with the 3.0, let's just do a quick recap. You can now look for the first RMO breakouts, the first 3D cells, the first breakouts. You could look for reversal. You got up reversals, down reversals. You could be looking for breakout catchers synced with the zone detector. You can look for TrendDecider 15-day, which is the new hybrid. For those of you looking at daily and weekly charts, this could be helpful. You could be looking at breakouts of a TrendDecider daily or a weekly level or a monthly level. So when you see TDD down, that means TrendDecider daily level has been broken, TrendDecider weekly has been broken. Down indicates broken on the downside. So you can also look for 52-week high-low percent change. If you're trying to look for stuff that's really dropped a lot or gained a lot, you can just auto sort it. You have the new price alerts feature, which is going to pop up or email you when a certain price is broken out or range is broken out as you desire. So very, very well thought of in terms of your go-to screen. And we've gone the degree of making sure that even simple things like the use of space. Notice that all my columns are well aligned. You can see I've not taken extra space. So how do you do this justification or alignment? There's a right on the bottom right hand of the application, you have a justify and align feature, which is right by the alerts manager. So it's going to be somewhere behind this alert that's popping up here. That's where you'd find the justify and align feature. We've thought to that degree that we use your screen real estate wisely, and that you can fit more in or fit things in a much more easy to view fashion. Now, for those of you already are using the ATM, I'm sure you're aware, we also have volume breakouts, because one of the questions I got yesterday was, you've added price breakouts, what about volume breakouts? We already have the volume breakout. So if you're looking for something that's suddenly on double the average volume, you can have a scan inbuilt over there to give you volume breakouts. So all of this stuff can be programmed in the PowerScreener. Well, program meaning you just need to right click and add it. You don't need to write any piece of code. All you need to do is choose a stock list of your choice, and it's going to be running for you. So here's another example of the TrendDecider daily and weekly. Imagine if you could couple this in with the super filter. So what I've done on this chart is I've added my ATM RMO template, which is the super filter, the orange and red bars, or the light blue and dark blue if it was an uptrend, along with the TrendDecider daily and weekly. And look how fascinating this is. If you see that the green line is below the red line, and I've purposely taken a chart that's been a bit choppy. This is, I think, probably a hourly or Walmart somewhere a few months behind. But you can see over here that when the market was choppy, all the bars are orange. The green line is lower than the red line. The daily TrendDecider daily level is lower than the weekly level, which means you're really bearish. This market has always rotated from that red line. We've never been able to really, even though the RMO went bullish over here, but what's the bar color? It's orange. Where's the green? The TrendDecider daily is lower than the weekly. You're not going to take this buy. Pretty much like here. The bar color is orange. Don't attempt buying, because even though the RMO is bullish, the TrendDecider green is lower than the red. The super filter bar colors are orange. So it's a beautiful template when you blend this in. I mean, this is something I strongly recommend, especially if you're starting out or even if you've advanced into a good stage of trading. I really like this one, and I thought I'd kind of conclude by giving you a bit of a pointer as to which are the go-to kind of tools, immediately speaking. So this is a great one. So keep this screen, keep this PowerScreener as a scanner, as something which you can go to for anything. I mean, just in case you don't know, you could even add your position. So let's say you bought 5,000 shares of something at a certain price. It even calculates the profit and loss or your percentage yield on those equities or on those futures that you're trading. So you can enter your positions and actually see your mark-to-mark profit and loss uh, updating in real time. So we've really gone to the degree of thinking that as a trader, what all do I need? So when you look at the screen, you're not just assessing the trend quality, but you're also seeing your positions, being able to enter your alerts, also get, most importantly, the alerts where you have the best trades possible. So the whole suite of the ATM comes to you with over 35 different indicator fields. So when you have the power screener, these are some of the different fields that you could select from. And all of this is coupled with a live quote board, scanner, auto interpreter, call it what you want. It automatically scans, automatically interprets, and gives you ready-to-made signals in terms of where you have criteria satisfied. So you can see that there are really about 7 core strategies within the ATM, but there's so much of flexibility I've given you so that you could tune it exactly the way you want, exactly to the time frames you want. And the reason I've given it, for example, I mean, just on this list, I see candlesticks. I mean, let's say I'm not a candlestick guy, but there may be many people out there who use candlesticks. So if you're looking for, say, engulfing bars or say a morning star, etc., we have a scanner which actually scans that for you. It can mark those candle patterns right on your watch list. You can have a setup where you say, I want to look for stuff that's deeply oversold, where the RSI is below 20, or something where the RSI is above 90. Maybe you're looking for stuff that's very overbought. So you can literally scan for all those very, very popular tools out there. Again, my forte is with the ATM. I've added those others because there are a lot of us who do want to refer to some of the conventionals, be it MACDs, RSIs, stochastics, moving averages, etc. All of that is also well thought of and built in and ready to use for you. I always get the question is, should I use MetaStock's inbuilt Explorer or should I use the Power Screener? Well, let me tell you, if you have the ATM 3.0, you definitely want to use the Power Screener because you are getting an automated output. You are not having to run a scan. You're getting a hands-free approach. You know, there was a situation where you say, okay, I was looking at, and let's say I trade an hourly bar. I've got to remember to run all the different scans every single hour and then wade through a list. But look at this. Once you've given it the stocks that you want to track, it's automatically scanning every second. I mean, literally with every tick, it's telling you where a new signal is coming in. So it's absolutely automatic. It gives you alerts, be it by voice alerts, where it actually tells you buy a stock in a human voice of your choice. And you can get an email alert. You can get intervals of your choice. So let's say if I use the hourly, I'll set my indicators to work off hourly bars. You may even say, I want hourly and daily on the same watch list. That's fine. So tremendous level of customization possible. And let me tell you, with the Power Screener, despite the Explorer being a great tool, I think you've taken a step up, and you should definitely utilize that upgrade you've given yourself. So use that Power Screener. It's so much more powerful. How do you find the first breakouts? How do you get the BC sync? How do you get where I've broken that trend decider level for the first time? Where I've got that super filter signal? All of that is packaged into the Power Screener. So it's quite fascinating in terms of the raw power that we give you. Now, folks, I'd also like to add, for those of you who want to go more in depth into understanding the Power Screener and the various systems, when you go under My Downloads, so let's say you've signed up for the ATM and you go under My Downloads, I've done a masterclass in 2017 and 2018. This is a users only masterclass. It's not publicly available. You would have access to that masterclass, which is designed around training you on the little nitty-gritties of the Power Screener and the various indicators there. So there's a suite of probably 4 videos of 2017 and 2018. I actually quite like both. I mean, even if you look back at the 2017 masterclass, it's really good for the Power Screener usage. I've got some great feedback on those videos. So definitely go to those to learn more. Again, the system comes with Explorers. So if you like Explorers, we've given it to you. If you prefer the Power Screener, we've given it to you there too. And of course, all the templates that I have are inbuilt. You don't have to build any template on your own. As the name suggests, ATM stands for Automated Trend Modules. The idea is to give you something automated, something hands-free, something which helps you focus on the trade rather than being an analyst. So I'm trying to help you cross that bridge of being over analytical, having a crowded chart, to having a simple chart with simple scans, which are already automated and optimized. So really, that's the edge we're giving you, the optimized and adaptive approach, where you can see things like the super filter, the breakout catcher, the zone detector. They all help you wade through those whipsaw patches or sideways patches because they self-adjust to the chart itself. And finally, I must say that there are a lot of add-ons out there, a lot of products out there in the marketplace today. where I've seen you can buy, you know, a product that's a fraction of the price, but you get 200 indicators or 100 indicators. I'm not here to give you quantity. I mean, even if I do an upgrade, as I mentioned to you, I'm very passionate about this, that I give you something which really delivers value, delivers something that you can use. I genuinely feel that I'm not here to just give you an update for the heck of it. I want to make sure this is meaningful and something that I have used and vetted myself, right? So there's a lot of testing that goes in there, and we're here to give you a quality of performance. People really like the RMO ATM really because of its success rate, because of the way it integrates, because of the automation, because of the fact that it helps you stay in discipline. In other words, you will always be in the direction of the system. Otherwise, what happens is, without something kind of calling out the trend for you, you know, there are a lot of people who try and swing both on the long and the short side. So it really helps you align in the direction of the trend in an optimized fashion. And again, when you buy the ATM, they're all free updates. So the great news is the ATM 3.0 comes to existing users as an absolutely free upgrade. And tomorrow, if we do have a 4.0, whenever we do, well, of course, that's a long way off now. But yes, that'll be a free update. We are not charging you for updates. We've already done 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. And of course, whenever there's a new build too, you get those new builds. So in terms of resources, very quickly, I've written up a manual which you have access to. You have the webinar recordings under your My Downloads. And of course, for those of you folks who've seen me at live events, I was there at the Torrance conference very recently. Follow along the MetaStock events page. We have an upcoming conference coming up soon in Bangalore, which is in India. And we have other ones coming up in Asia, Singapore, etc. So track along the events page if you want to catch me live. And of course, one of the biggest advantages is with ViraTech in India, we give you virtually 24-hour support. Now, how I say it, virtually 24-hour, we are open from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. India time. And that's really when MetaStock is closed. So when we close, MetaStock opens, and vice versa. So you always have support. You can either contact ViraTech or you could contact MetaStock. So you literally have that support access anytime you want, besides the already inbuilt resources of manuals and webinar recordings, etc. So just to quickly hand over to Jeff, a very quick one. Those who are on the annual, you do get a discounted price, and you also get a one-to-one training session from our staff. So we'd have someone who's highly experienced, over 10 years of experience with the program, will take you through one-to-one on stocks you trade to help you get set up, help you get started, and walk you through. So those of you on the annual, use that one-to-one session to you know, make use of it. So that's about it. That rounds it up. I'm really excited about the ATM 3.0. I think we've added a, you know, good bunch of indicators there, good bunch of updates and enhancements there. I would definitely recommend you try it. I can truly tell you from the bottom of my heart, from a trader's heart, that it will change the way you look at the markets. It will make life more organized, meaningful, and above all, you'd be able to detect opportunities like never before. So thank you again. Over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Rahul. That was great. Really appreciate it. As usual, did a great job. Wanted to kind of quickly highlight the new features that have been added with from 2 to 3. And so if we just look at kind of what's added, and this question came up. I already have ATM 2.0. How do I get to 3.0? And for those of you that may have missed the response in chat, if you already have 2.0, well, number one, thank you. Number two, you just need to log into the website account at metastock.com/mydownloads, and it's already available as a download you can install and run. To cover the things that have actually been added, we've got the new price alerts where you can say, okay, I want you to alert me when IBM goes above 71 or down below 71, or maybe when it breaks into a price range of 71 to 85, something like that. One of the things I really like as a way of kind of finding stocks that have been moving pretty dramatically is the change from the 52-week high or low, which is now part of the PowerScreener you can add. You've got the enhanced RMO 3D scan, the outside reversal bars, the 15-day TrendDecider, the TD break, the enhanced RMO 3D scan again on there, and the ATM BC Sync. There's quite a bit that's already been added to this new version of the program, and more, it's $11.50. Normally for the retail, you get a discount on the annual subscription. And if you do purchase that annual package, you'll receive that one-on-one training from Rahul's staff that he was talking about. So to order that, give us a call at 800-882-3040, or you can chat online with us at metastock.com/saleschat. Okay. Krister says, I have installed it now, but 2.0 is still open. Okay. In order to install the 3.0, what you'll need to do, Krister, is you actually have to uninstall the 2.0 PowerScreener and then run your reinstallation. If you run into any problems, let us know. We'll help you out with it. Okay. Nitin says, what are the charges, end of day as well as live feed? Okay. Well, that's a really good question, Nitin. I appreciate it. Basically, if you go ahead and subscribe to RMO ATM today, we'll give you a free subscription to MetaStock to try it out for a month. If you're not familiar, just to kind of let you know what the pricing on MetaStock is, I'm going to give you a couple bullet points first. MetaStock's been rated the #1 software in its price category for 25 years in a row now. That's by the readers of stocks and commodities. People buy it for a number of reasons. You can use it to scan the markets. You can use it to test trading ideas, and you can use it to get alerts and feedback with the ATM. Normally, the pricing on that, depending on what you sign up for, can be $59 per month. For at the very bottom for an end-of-day feed, that $59 includes MetaStock. It includes all the data that you need to run it. And like I said, we'll actually give you a free month with your ATM subscription. The real-time version of MetaStock starts at $199 a month. That includes a real-time news feed from Reuters, and it also includes the fully real-time version of the program. So those are kind of give you an idea of the pricing, really to kind of figure out exactly what's best for you. I'd really recommend you talk to one of our sales guys. They can talk to you about what you're trading and what you need and kind of like what your price points are going to be. And they're also a very friendly group of guys. So you can give them a call at 800-882-3040, or you can visit them online at metastock.com/saleschat. Okay. Timothy asked a question, can we interrupt the service and still get the $99 a month rate? Yeah. So if you have a subscription and you need to go on, let's say that you're going to be away for 2 weeks because you're going on holiday or something like that, you can actually put your subscription on hold and not cancel it and come back to it later. So yeah, you can interrupt that to an extent. Okay. All right, I think that answers most of the questions. If you have another one, type it in real quick because we'll probably wrap up here real soon. Rahul, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh no, they were great questions. I think it was a quick session. I kind of tried to pack in a lot there, but I think we really got to the crux of it. But one of the thoughts that come to me is a lot of times when users use the ATM, they always come to me and what are your favorite tools or what are the ones that you want to use? Now, it really depends. So if you're someone who's trading options, and this is where I'd like to guide you, is you definitely want to look at the ATM RMO 2 template. That's something I didn't talk about today because that's not something new. Look at a tool called the ATM SWI as well. Again, very powerful, which is totally driven off volume. So that's really good to use. And if you're someone who's trading equities or futures, you want to look at stuff to start with, as I was mentioning, in that ATM RMO template or the super filter that is along with the TrendDecider. So those are my first go-to ones. But again, we've got about several different templates. There are about 6 or 7 of them there. Definitely get a feel of it. I always tell traders that give yourself a month to kind of settle in with it, start using it, try the different systems, get used to the various strategies, and then find your way. You don't need to jump to any one immediately. It's definitely a great idea to test them, paper trade them, put on a small quantity if you want, and feel it and trade it better.
One of the things I wanted to kind of mention too that I totally forgot about, but we've recorded all those classes that come along with it as well. So if you're an RMO ATM subscriber, you'll notice right here, I've got the version 3 ready to download and install. But we've actually got two classes that we've done. One is using the RMO and MetaStock, using the RMO ATM 2. But we also recorded a masterclass both in 2017 and again this year that kind of go through the specific features and the different systems and how to use them. And those were all done by Rahul. So he did a really good job with them, and they're just included with the subscription. I'd recommend you go through them. Chisang Kwan, sorry, hopefully one of those 15 different pronunciations was okay, Chisang. But he asked a question, can we type the S&P 500 symbols into the PowerScreener, and is there a size limit?
Oh, you can absolutely do that. Well, I've got a page with 100, I've got a page with 300. You can definitely go up to 1,000. Okay, and you could have multiple pages open as well. So you could have 3 pages. But again, if you're going to be using so many symbols, if you're anyone using beyond 100, 150 symbols, well, make sure you have an SSD drive, the typical high-speed internet, and at least 8 gigs of RAM.
Timothy wanted you to repeat the templates you recommend for option trading.
It's the ATM RMO 2 template, which you can use for the options trading. That's very, very good. Take a look at that one. And the ATM SWI.
And one other question. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Rahul. One other question, what is your success rate of the regular RMO and ATM RMO? And I think that depends on what you're looking at, obviously, but and what instruments you're using with it. But do you have any thoughts on that particular question?
I think it's a great question, but what I would really worry about more is I see a breed of traders very worked up about hit rate. In other words, they all want to make sure that, I'm getting 6 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 accurate signals. But I think what you need to also worry about is what is the reward you're getting when you win, right? So you could have a system which is just 50-50, but the wins are significantly larger than the losses. So if you have small losses and very big wins, that's what matters. And that's what the real aim is. But to answer you to some kind of anything between 6 to 7.5 out of 10 is my rough guess. Again, it would change from instrument to instrument. I normally would kind of fit into that window. Most stocks would kind of fit that bill.
All right, very good. That looks like the extent of the questions. I want to thank all the people that came today. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this session. Rahul, I want to thank you for your time. Great job today. It's always a very enjoyable, understandable class. And with that being said, we'll see you at the next webinar. Oh, and one last time, to pick up that special offer, give us a call at 800-882-3040. If you have more questions, you can also chat online with us at metastock.com/saleschat. And with that being said, thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks again, Rahul, and we'll see you at the next show.